So we are live. Hello everyone. Welcome to this Platinum List live talk. For those who don't know me, my name is Nathalia Toro. I help professionals and entrepreneurs to overcome anxiety and chronic stress so they can stop that cycle of surviving and start building confidence and being successful in their career and personal life. I have to say that I'm super glad to be part of this new project of Platinum List Live Talks. And my deepest desire is that the information I'm going to share with you guys help you to walk easier through life during this pandemic time, during this challenging time, during this uncertain time, which is not easy for everyone. Okay? So let's dive into our subject, but before that, I want to let you know that I'm a clinical hypnotherapist and transformational coach, and I'm accredited by the Hypnotherapy Standards Council of the UK. So, our subject. This is the answer probably to a question that everyone, or almost everyone, is asking themselves every day. How do I manage to keep myself productive? How do I do it without burning out? How do I keep my mental health sharp? How do I keep myself mentally sane? And how do I keep my creative capacity running? Creativity is something that we all need to problem solving, right? And problem solving, it's something that all of us, we are quite using these days due to the circumstances around the world. So I would like to start from talking about why is it normal to be anxious and feel stressed during these times. First of all, I want you to know that feeling worry, being stressed and being anxious or experiencing these emotions are normal of the human being. It is normal to be stressed. It is normal to have certain levels of anxiety when there is unknown situations, when change come to our life just abruptly, just to disrupt everything we were doing daily basis. Why? Because our mind hates the unknown and loves the known. Why? Because the job number one of our mind is keeping us alive in the world, right? So that's how stress keep us alive. If we didn't have any kind of stress in our bodies or our minds, we would probably be crossing the streets when the lights are green for the cars, for example. We wouldn't have this survival instinct, which is what keep us alive, which is what allow us to take care of ourselves, which is what make us realize when there is a threat, when there is danger. So it is a natural response. So many people in this pandemic time are experiencing feelings or symptoms of anxiety and stress, probably for the first time, or they are coming to realize that they feel anxious and stressed for the first time. There is other group of people who already suffer from debilitating anxiety and stress symptoms, and the situation is making those feelings and symptoms just skyrocket, right? In both cases, the information that I'm going to share with you, which are practical tools and tips for you to keep yourself sane, for you to manage your own stress, and for you to not let your right side of the brain, which is where creativity lives, to shut down because of the stress and the uncertainty we are facing nowadays. How the situation of anxiety and stress applies right now. Uncertainty can be even more stressful than knowing that something bad is about to happen. Why? Because at least when we know that something bad is about to happen, our mind can kind of call the police. Like in our mind knows how to call these little cells, these little glands, all the systems in our body, for us to measure the risk and how fast we would need to move, or how fast we would need to be at solving something. But when there is 50% of uncertainty, something could go very wrong or something could go just right as we expected. Our mind gets into a state of, let's say, when you press the gas in your car and the brake at the same time. Gas, brake, gas, brake. So your mind is trying to make your body and your functions to move ahead, but at the same time is pressing the brake. At the same time is holding you back from doing what you have to do, from feeling how you want to feel, from being who you want to be. So humans, we are not hardwired to be good at uncertainty. And uncertainty is the word that defines the current situation of this pandemic in the world, right? So what happens when we face a situation like this one, when we face uncertainty? A situation like this one just make us realize that nothing outside, nothing that happens outside is really under our control. However, because our mind loves the known and hates the unknown, having control, having everything under control, means very low risk of pain, of being exposed to something painful, uncomfortable, right? We as humans, we like instant gratification. That's why we love being in control. We love feeling that everything is under control and that everything we can plan, so everything will go in that way we desire to go. We appreciate being under control. We admire people who seem to have things under control, because we love that feeling of gratification when things are planned and they go the way we expect, because it makes us feel good, and we are hardwired for that instant gratification. This situation, like the one we are facing right now, where so many people have uncertainty of their finances, their professional life, the way they live, and even the place they live at right now, simply make us all at some point and in certain level out of control. Our body and our mind doesn't like out of control like situations. That's why it sends us into this loop of negative thinking. That's why many people are not able to sleep at the same time they are used to sleep, with the same quality of sleep every night. People are having trouble with, for example, binge eating, over snacking, procrastination, not being able to work out. Even people are struggling out of stress and anxiety with this situation with their physical health. And it's normal, because stress, sustained stress over time, causes inflammation in the body. And inflammation is linked to so many symptoms and even to chronic illness over time. So this situation makes us feel out of control because there are certain needs that we have as humans. There is like let's say like a stairs of needs for humans. On the basis of those needs are the feeling or the sense of safety. There is a pandemic out there. So of course we are going to feel that the safety of our health is shaky. We are going to start asking ourselves, am I healthy enough to survive if I get contaminated? Am I going to get contaminated or infected? What happens if my family, whether it's close to you or in other countries far from you, someone gets infected? Am I gonna be able to get the resources, financial resources, to keep the safety of having a roof over me, of being able to buy food, of being able to stock up in supplies in case the lockdowns in the place in the world where you are goes longer? Safety is one of the needs that this situation makes shaky. So our mind just detects danger, detects a threat. Safety is not as stable as always. So it puts the alarms on. So these feelings of stress and anxiety are that alarm, because your body thinks that you are in a situation where you need to run or fly or flee, you need to fight or you need to hide, right? Which are the three mechanisms of how we would protect ourselves from the beginning of times, when we were living in tribes, when we were living in the caverns and a lion was coming behind us, so our body just gets flowed in cortisol and adrenaline, so we can run super fast for the lion not to eat us or to kill us. Nowadays, in this exact moment, that lion, that threat, is the world pandemic and all the changes and all the situations that are coming with that. All this context just to tell you that feeling anxious, feeling stressed, having certain levels of stress, it's a normal, very normal thing from our body, from our mind. It's a very normal reaction. We humans are designed to put those alarms on when something is unfamiliar, when something seems to be dangerous, when something could put us in risk of dying, basically, in risk of our integrity to be hurt somehow. Okay, so this context is to let you know that if you feel stress, if you're having symptoms of anxiety, of stress, if those symptoms were there before, because you already struggle with anxiety or with chronic stress, or they are new symptoms, they are new feelings, that's okay. The situation is stressful enough already. Now, when these symptoms or when these feelings, this repetitive negative thinking loop, this repetitive catastrophic tendency of thinking doesn't allow you to perform the way you were performing always, or at least at 80%, then you know that there is something else behind it. And the tendency is to blame the situation. The tendency is, for us as humans, the tendency is to blame. There is a pandemic out there, we are in lockdown, the news everywhere, social media, the news, the TV news, the radio news, everywhere there is no other subject. Remember that, and if you don't know, and for those who know, our environment is all the time programming us in a conscious or in a subliminal way. What this means, because maybe you are like, she's all over the place with this of the mind and getting fit with stuff. What happens is we are scared. We have fear because of what's happening right now. We fear for our health, we fear for our stability, our security, our safety, for so many of our needs that became shaky out of the situation, right? So what happens is that your mind is going to start being hyper alert, right? Hyper alert state, because there is a lot of information about something very dangerous out there. As dangerous that we need physical distancing, which is another of our needs that has been shaky there, because we are social beings. Not being able to meet with our friends or family, it's already giving our mind a sign of threat. Why? Because in the beginning of times, our survival depended on belonging, being in that tribe, in that community we were part of. Being expelled from that community, from that tribe, could mean that we got eaten by a wild animal. It could mean that we would die from not being able to make fire, from not being able to hunt in group, so not being able to supply ourselves with food. It's very primitive what we talk about here, and why we are experiencing so many weird and a bunch of symptoms of anxiety and stress. So coming back to how our environment program our mind in a subliminal manner. Our conscious mind is very limited. It's the rational mind, is the mind that let us calculate, is the mind that let us to rationalize things, yeah? To try to give a conscious meaning to something. It's the mind that allows us to plan, to strategize, to make counts, right? And it's very limited. Our conscious mind, we can physically, physiologically, mentally only be aware of 5, 7, or 9 things that are happening right here at the same time. But right now, right here, there is at least 2 million of bits of information of things that are happening, but you cannot be consciously aware of. So what happens is your TV is on all the time, even though you're cooking, or you're cleaning, or you are working, or you are studying, or you're just lying down doing nothing, not consciously looking at the TV. Your subconscious mind, which is the other function of your mind, that is 95% of your mind function, it's keeping record of everything you are not conscious at this very moment. I'll give you an example of this. You are not aware of this until I mention, which is, for example, the feeling of your top or your clothes over your skin. This feeling has been always there. Yeah? Our clothes is touching our skin all the time, but we are not conscious of it all the time. We cannot, because our conscious mind is a little bit here, lives in a little bit that is like this big, like a little tag above our right eyebrow, and it doesn't have the capacity to have in the surface and in a level of consciousness everything what's happening right now, how our clothes feel in our skin, how my watch feels over my wrist, the temperature of the air that I'm breathing right now. I'm feeling it. I'm just not conscious of it until I don't mention, right? Your pinky toe of your left feet, for example. Do you ever think of that? Of course not. However, it's always there, and your subconscious mind is always aware of those things that you don't have in the surface at a conscious level. This is how, for example, the news about the pandemic could be feeding that fear, feeding your symptoms of anxiety, feeding your stress, feeding that feeling of uncertainty that you already naturally, because you are a human, have inside you. This is why it's so important, and this could be probably the first tip that I'm going to give you today. We already know almost everything about the virus, about the pandemic times. So there is no need, believe me, there is no need with keeping yourself looking for news, watching the TV news about the pandemic, reading all day round about it, and just feeding that concern and that stress. I'm not telling you disconnect from the reality or from the world and just pretend that nothing is happening. No. Read once a day. Watch one TV show about it. Just keep yourself up to date, but do not obsess over the subject. Why? Because where focus goes, energy flows. So if you start training your mind from now to keep the entire focus in what's happening outside, which is the world pandemic, you are focusing your energy and driving your energy to what's out of your control. And what's happening with this inside, with yourself, with the space you live in, all your skills, all your capacity, all your neuroplasticity that allow you to learn something new during this time. It will be just abandoned there. It will be just abandoned there. And when you keep your focus on the outside, which is what you cannot control, none of us can control right now, then your anxiety over that uncertainty will just grow and grow and grow and grow. This is like a snowball. The more you focus on what you cannot control, the more stress you feel, the more anxious you become. Why? Because this is how our mind works. This is how our mind works. Everything you put in your mind, your inner dialogue, everything you feed your body and your mind with, your mind will just get it in a group of information called commons, and it will start making of that a reality. So for example, if you keep yourself watching the news about all the negative things that are happening around the world with this pandemic, your mind will keep itself saying, okay, uncertainty, anxiousness, worry, deaths, this, that, and we'll just keep on repeating, and we'll try to make that information reality. How? By making you feel anxious, by making you feel stress, so releasing all the hormones that produce stress, cortisol, adrenaline, raising your insulin levels, so you will start storing fat. There is a lot of things that happen behind stress, sustained stress, and anxiety. But that could be another talk because it's a very long subject. This is how the mind works. This is why it's so important stress management at this time. No matter how bad the situation is out there, there is always something you have control over. And remember, mind loves control, loves to make you feel under control. It loves when you feel that I have everything under control. Yeah? So trick your mind. Focus on what you can control. What is what you can control? Your thoughts, where you drive your focus, where you drive your energy. So here I go with these tips, practices. On. One, why? The first reason is because by things, you will trick your mind, your subconscious mind, which is where your emotions live, on telling it that not everything has changed, not everything is unknown, not everything has just suddenly become shaky. Second, because it will keep you sane. It will keep you sane because many of these practices will bring your attention to the present. When you bring your attention to the present, there is no anxiety, because anxiety is future-based, like what if this goes wrong? What if the lockdown never finishes? What if I get infected? What if? That's where anxiety comes from. When you're in the present moment, there is no depression. The past. Depression is could have, I should have done, I should have said, what if I did this instead of that? So if you, through exercises, practices, and things that you can do consciously, can bring yourself and your mental awareness to the present, then you open space in your head. You release that tension that those symptoms of anxiety and stress are causing to you. Okay? So the first tip, or actually the second, because I already gave you the first, which is disconnect a little bit, slow down with the news watching. That's a given. The second tip would be write down a routine. Why? If you're a person that's working from home, for example, was sent home to work because offices were shut down, just most of them are still shut down, right? If you are not at your office at that space, and if you are working from home, the same place where you live, where you sleep, where you eat, and you also need to be productive in the same space, but you don't have your boss there asking you for stuff, or you don't have your staff waiting for you at the meeting room, you are not seeing other people working, running around, trying to get things done, then it's very easy to get out of routine. Very, very easy. What happens when you wake up and you need to stay at home because we need to physically distance from other people for our own safety? What happens when you wake up and there is no structure, and there is no routine, and there is no set times for meals? Sorry about that, but we are back. We just lost connection. We are back. And again, because I'm not sure from when we lost connection, I'm going to start with the tips. The tips for you to be productive, mentally sane, and feel still creative during all these crazy times. So the first tip, or the second, better, because the first I already told you, just slow down on the news. It's actually feeding your anxiety and stress, keeping yourself up to date. Once a day, it's more than enough. The second tip would be write down a routine. Not having a routine because you are not going to office or because you are not going to the place you normally go every day gives your brain and your mind a feeling of even more uncertainty and stress. And anxiety, because there is no structure, right? So when there is no structure, when you are totally out of routine, your mind starts thinking, the unknown is coming, I don't know this is different, something has changed. So it's starting to look for ways of you to adapt to the new, but actually it doesn't know what's the new normal. So write down a routine. Write down the times when you are working. Chunk down your work. If it's work what you're doing, if you're doing any other activity, just chunk it down. It's easier. Log in that routine, the times for your meals. Log in that routine, the time for your workout, if you are keeping yourself physically active, which I think everyone should do. Log into that routine, the time when you will start doing something free, like for your personal benefit. For example, your hobby. If you like to watch series in Netflix, even log down in that routine. Log these times of your day and stick to it. Believe me, that will trick your mind into thinking that you are still in that same routine every day. Because your subconscious mind, where your emotions are, doesn't understand of rational thinking. It just understands of stimulus. So if you keep on doing something at the same times every day, or at least the weekdays, and then you go into your weekend doing what you normally would do on a weekend except going out, then your mind would think, well, not everything has changed, and your level of stress will most probably come down because you are not feeding that uncertainty and lack of structure. The next tip would be going to bed, doing your best to go to bed every day at the same time. Why? Your day starts actually the night before. I'll explain you why. When you go to sleep, when your brain goes into the rapid eye movement, which is one of the stages of sleep, is when all the emotional load kinds of unloads. Yeah? When your brain and your mind actually process all those bits of information you got from the day before. So if you don't sleep well, if your quality of sleep is poor, if your structure of sleeping is not actually kind of in order, is not the same every day, if you don't have a good sleep hygiene, then you won't be able to process emotions from the day before. You won't be able to process all those bits of information. And what's going to happen is you have ruined your next day from the night before. Because if you don't sleep well, you will be more susceptible to feel angry, to be irritable, to feel anxious, to feel stressed, to procrastinate, to feel that your energy levels are low. And it becomes a vicious cycle. So practice sleeping hygiene. Disconnect from screens 1 hour before going to bed. Why? Because when you disconnect from screens, you are actually allowing your brain to produce the melatonin that it needs to send you to sleep. You will actually prepare your mind to start slowing down before you go to bed. What's going to happen if you are on your phone or on the TV or on your iPad or any of your devices until last minute before going to sleep? Your brain is hyperactive. Your mind is hyperactive until the last minute. How about if you lie down and you remember that you needed to respond an email, that you need to perform a task before going to sleep? That's gonna mess up your sleep. Don't try to do anything, to resolve anything just minutes before going to bed. Prepare your mind, prepare your body for that resting time. That's gonna improve the quality of your sleep, and if you are having trouble to sleep, that will, let's say, have a cumulative effect in your sleep until you will probably find it easier to go to sleep. Watch out what you are doing just before your resting time, and watch out what times are you going to bed. Try to do it every day at the same time. It's super beneficial for your mind. So remember, your next day starts the night before, so treat it as though. By the way, we all have almost the same thoughts as the day before when we wake up. Most of people have in their mind 80% of the same thoughts of the day before. It's just that we don't remember because we already slept and there was already a process running in our mind. So what happens if you have double of the same kind of thoughts from the day before? You will feel loaded, you will feel overwhelmed, you will feel lack of energy, you won't be prepared to receive new information, you won't be productive because you won't be able to learn anything new. You will be stressed, you will be irritable, all sorts of things that are not beneficial for you. Get ready is the fourth tip. Get ready every day, just as you get ready every day of every week to do whatever you are used to do. Whether that's going to office, whether that's going to school, whatever you do in your normal life, the way you get ready to just do your day, like if circumstances were just normal. Get ready, get showered, get nicely dressed, put makeup on if you like it, put aftershave, perfume, smell good for you. That's gonna tell your mind that things are still under control. Remember, the mind likes to feel that you have things under control because it sends a signal of there is minimum risk of pain, there is minimum risk of not surviving. So it's about doing conscious actions that will trick your mind into those subconscious feelings and emotions of not everything has changed, not everything is messed up. So get ready, look good for yourself. It feels good, it will make you feel good. And there is a psychological model that says emotion follows motion. So move to do anything you have to do for creating good emotions. If you are waiting for you to feel motivated to do something, let me tell you that you will stay there waiting for that motivation to rain from the sky. You move first and motivation follows. You do first and the feeling follows. So get ready, look good, get nicely dressed, and you will feel how good that makes you feel. The next tip would be move your body every day. But here is the thing. Yes, work out, keep moving, but look for the right workout, for the right activity or exercise for you. And by this I mean, if you're a person who's already struggling from anxiety and chronic stress, your cortisol levels, which is the hormone of stress, are normally high, right? So if you are going to work out, do an hour of cardio and then lift and then do something else. If you just want to Tire yourself because most probably the cortisol levels are not letting you to sleep properly, and you think that the solution is going for a run at 6 in the evening. That's the wrong thing to do. Why? Because exercise is good, but exercise at the wrong time and in the wrong quantity and the wrong kind of exercise can induce more stress into your body. So if you are already experiencing stress and anxiety and you have trouble going to bed and falling asleep or keeping yourself asleep during the entire night, your exercise in the evening, if that's the time you like to exercise, is long walks. Just go and walk. People underestimate walking. Walking is actually a very, very good exercise for your body and for your mind. And it's better if you don't put your heart rate very high 4 hours before going to bed at least. So yes, keep yourself active. The best time to be active is the morning. It's the morning because when you wake up, your cortisol levels are super high. That's why you can get ready, you can get shower, you can get your breakfast. Yeah, your body has a natural intelligence. So your body keeps your cortisol up in the mornings. If you use that cortisol working out, exercising, stretching your body, being active, you will use all that cortisol. The cortisol levels are going to come down and you will feel less stressed, less anxious, less worried along the day. So in the mornings is the best time to keep yourself active. At any time it suits you, just keep yourself active, even if it's just a walk, because probably is that what you need. The next tip would be do your best to set boundaries between your work or the things that you have to do to look for a living and your personal life. The things that you like doing, that you enjoy doing, if you have a hobby, set those boundaries and keep them. Once you finish work, if your case is you are working from home because of the lockdown, simply put your laptop away, switch off the alerts of your phone, and just reply or answer calls if they are very urgent. Disconnect. Disconnecting will give your mind a sense of calmness. If you keep your mind running and thinking that you need to be solving and doing and planning and strategizing and thinking of solution all day long, then most probably when you go to bed in the night, you won't be able to sleep because your mind is there, working in the same. And what happens with that, and here is why this talk is about keeping your creativity as well. When your mind keeps on running under pressure, and you keep your mind thinking, I need to solve, I need to do, I need to resolve all day, and you go to bed and you cannot sleep and you wake up next day already stressed. You might not think you are stressed, but your body is stressed. Your body is tired, and that puts stress in your body. Your mind is stressed because your mind couldn't process all the information from the day before. So what happens when you are stressed, you are in the fight or flight mode, your mind will only keep the functions of your body that are just priority and necessary for you to flee, fight, or run, because you are in this fight or flight mode, right? Your mind thinks that you probably need to run from a lion, from the threat, or that you need to fight to not get killed, or you need to hide because there is something there that could be dangerous. When you enter in that mode, in that stressful mode or that anxiety mode, which is the fight or flight response, your mind, in its immense intelligence, shuts down the functions of yourself that are no priority to make you survive. And those functions are creativity, which is living in the right side of your brain, reproduction, so you will probably experience low libido, and digestion. Why? Because when you need to hide, you need to flee, or you need to fight, you need to be light here, because all the energy needs to come to your limbs because you need to run or fight or hide. So you might experience low libido, lack of creativity, so you will find that it's impossible for you to find solutions to the challenges you are facing now, for example. And you will most probably face digestive discomfort because you are stressed. That's why it's important to set boundaries. It's part of stress management. It's part of keeping yourself productive. It's part of not allowing your right side of the brain, where the problem solving and creativity live, to shut down, because you need it now. We all need it more than ever, right? And the next step would be something that is actually spiritual. Spirituality is important to keep ourselves sane. Whether in spirituality means religion to you or not religion, it doesn't matter what your beliefs or your faith are. It doesn't matter. I like to recommend to my clients a spiritual practice that works wonders for so many things. First, over time, it will rewire your brain to focus in what is good, in what makes you feel good, in appreciation, in what you have in your present, right? Instead of wasting energy in the outside, things that are out of our control, no matter how bad they are. We cannot control them. And is journaling for gratitude. Journaling for gratitude will train your mind to look for good things, to look for those things and link them to that nice feeling that you feel in your body, that is gratitude. Gratitude in the form of love, gratitude in the form of happiness, gratitude in the form of satisfaction, right? So journaling for gratitude is a way of rewiring your brain, using that neuroplasticity we all have until the day we die, into focusing in what makes you feel good. Every morning or every night, as you prefer, take a notepad, write down 3 or 5 things you feel grateful for, whether they are material things, people in your life, feelings, experiences, your pets, anything. You will be amazed how many things you have in your life right now to be grateful for. And over time, that will contribute to bring your levels of stress and anxiety down. So journal for gratitude. Journal for gratitude and make sure that the things you write down every day are different things. In that sense, in a month's time, in 2 months' time, you will read and you will realize that there is a lot of things that were under your control, a lot of things that were for your benefit, that were actually blessings or good things or however you want to call them, to be grateful for, that you don't really need to put that much attention in the outside world and the things that you cannot really control. And that's going to make you feel good. All right, let's do, after these tips, a little exercise. And I'm going to teach it now to you. I want you to watch me and to follow it and then practice it at home. This exercise is a neuro-linguistic programming exercise, and it will help you to get rid of unwanted emotions. Yeah? You will, when you are not feeling well, when you are feeling anxious, stressed, or you feel any of the symptoms, any of the feelings, any of the thoughts that anxiety and stress bring to you, simply name it. For example, fear is just an example. If what you feel at the moment is fear, name it. In a scale from 1 being the least to 10, write down what's the number or what's that level from 1 to 10 you think you are feeling that fear right now. Write it down and put the timer of your phone for 3 to 5 minutes. And you will take your dominant hand. My dominant hand is the right hand. You will align your 4 fingers and you will find the middle the top of your head, like if you had aerial view. Find the top, the very middle top of your head, and you will start tapping and saying the word of the feeling at the same time. So like this. Tap, let's say, strongly enough that you feel the vibration going on, but not as strong as you hurting yourself or something like that. So for example, the feeling is fear, right? I'm in a 9. I feel a lot of fear right now. So fear, if you want, close your eyes. Fear, 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 and keep tapping. Keep tapping for 3 to 5 minutes. Say to yourself, it's okay to let go of fear. Fear. Fear is going out. It's okay letting go of fear. After 3 to 5 minutes of doing this, evaluate again and see how low or how low the feeling has become. It could be that if your feeling was in a 9 or 10, it could reduce to 5 or to 3 or even to 0. Do it as long as you need to do it for you to get rid of the unwanted feeling. This is something that you can do at any time, at any moment. This looks a little bit weird, so you will probably not want to do it in front of people, but go to the bathroom. People who experience panic attacks have reported that practices of tapping, even finding a place where they can be on their own to tap, there is a lot of different ways of tapping. This is a basic one, but it's very effective. Have reported to be able to hack into their panic attacks before they actually happen. They learn to identify when the panic attack will come, and they'll simply do this exercise. They name it, they start tapping until the panic attack is gone. 2 tips for doing this exercise: tap when you are hydrated. So if you need to tap and you think that you haven't drank water enough, have a glass of water first, wait for 10 minutes, name the feeling, write down from 1 to 10 how high it is, how high you are feeling it, and tap. Put the timer of your phone. It works wonders. I think this is all for today. Thanks very much for being with me. I hope that these tips, these practices, and these explanations that maybe bring you to a level of understanding can help you to ease your life, ease your daily life at these challenging times, these times that could be full of uncertainty, that are very difficult for some of you. And this was how to stay productive, mentally safe, and keep your creativity going on in Platinum List Live Talks. Thanks for being with me, and see you next time.